One of the great Yellowstone loopholes just closed, and the central premise of Season 4 is wide open.
That's the problem with secrets. They don't stay secret forever.
It really seems like we know that Jamie's dad is behind all the attacks, but there is one glaring piece of evidence that all but clears him of the crime. It's right here. Yeah, I know, that's pretty vague, and I'm not going to make you wait until the very end to see what I'm talking about. In fact, I put the time codes of all the important parts of this video in the description section below, so if you want to jump around, I'm not going to mind. Hey, it's Billy Dukes, and if you've subscribed and followed some of the previous recap and analysis videos, you know that I'm something of a Garrett Randall stan. In fact, I got a little bit snotty a few weeks ago, saying something about how we're all jumping to conclusions on him with no real evidence. That seemed like a little bit of a tenuous idea after Jamie discovered his dad was cellmates with this guy Riggins back in the day, but I think now, even though we didn't get to hear Riggins' answer on if Randall ordered the hits, we can assume he did not order them. Some of the other things we'll talk about during this recap: Lloyd's very dark future on the Yellowstone ranch, where an unlikely friendship between John Dutton and environmentalist Summer Higgins is headed, Jimmy, Buster Welch, and this zinger.
I hope the good Lord gave you a big dick, Jimmy, because he sure shorted your own brains.
And finally, one more great Bethism from episode 5. First, subscribe, give a thumbs up if you're liking how this season is slowly coming together, and then let me know what you think is going to happen to Lloyd. I want to start there because after a moment between Beth and John, that's where episode 5 began. Rip is absolutely punishing Lloyd after the fight with Walker. This is really hard to watch and understand because Walker seems to be getting off kind of easy, and in many ways, he was the instigator of this feud. No, he didn't know that Laramie and Lloyd were kind of kicking it in a quasi-couple before he returned from exile, but he's been flaunting it all through Season 4. He kind of had it coming, and it all came to a head with a pretty epic bunkhouse fight. But Rip stepped in, and a few days or weeks later now, Lloyd's still not getting a chance to break any of the new colts or do cowboy work. Instead, he had to teach Carter how to saddle a horse, a job he actually embraced and did pretty well. That was kind of a nice moment. But then...
It's only because of what you've done for me that you ain't over there shoveling shit with that fucking boy.
For a second straight episode, we're left with him looking pensive, unsure about life, maybe plotting revenge as he stepped outside for some fresh air. And then he saw Walker and Laramie showing the full moon how it's really done. Two thoughts here. I said it last week, I still think something awful is coming Lloyd's way. We've not had a major character death since, Lee in episode 1 of season 1? That might change. And if it's Lloyd, the blood will figuratively be on Rip's hands. I'm going to go deeper into this during the Dutton Rules podcast, but Rip mismanaged this thing from the very beginning. I keep thinking about this line of dialogue from John.
Well, I don't want to hear about the wildfire that got away from you just when you put out.
Yes, sir.
Whatever he did, don't forget who he is to you. Both of us.
It didn't need to be a wildfire at all, y'all. Rip let the situation in the bunkhouse get way out of control by not intervening when Lloyd told him he was pretty angry about Walker in episode 3 of season 4. I mean, maybe this video isn't the place for management theories, so I'll just ask you to find the links to the Dutton Rules podcast in the description section and wait until Thursday. Let me know what you think, though. It's always a conversation. Do you think that Rip could have handled this whole thing better, or is it a case of just boys being boys? Real quick, let's touch on John and Summer Higgins before we talk about Jamie and Terrell Riggins. Summer is actor Piper Perabo, who plays an aggressive environmentalist. John initially decides to put her in jail after a protest becomes violent. Apparently John still gets to decide these things, but then he bails her out and offers to give her a tour of his ranch.
Surely you can appreciate that virtually every fiber of my being is screaming at me not to get in a pickup with a charming white male in his 50s who I don't know from fucking Adam.
During that drive, they find some common ground, and I'm kind of curious to see where this goes, but also wondering about this scene from episode 4.
I'm gonna get you a girlfriend.
Bet that's too far, okay?
No, it's what you need.
This whole man-to-man shit thing we got
Nope,
going.
I'm on it.
Is this sort of setting up a strange kind of love interest for John Dutton? Hey, I'm open-minded to the idea. If nothing else, the old man deserves to find some romance again. We'll see. Okay, on to why we're here. But first, a 10-second recap of the Jamie, Riggins, Randall story thus far.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So Jamie's attention seems to have turned from finding out who attacked the ranch to finding out if his real dad is involved. We finally see Riggins in the flesh, as played by our buddy Bruno Amato. Hi, Bruno! Surprisingly, Jamie gives Riggins full immunity to start the interview, something that's certainly going to be an issue in a week or two, and then he asks about his real dad.
Did this man hire you to facilitate the murder attempt on the Dutton family?
Okay, listen. That seemed like a really odd first question, didn't it? One that every crime drama has taught us could taint the investigation. Jamie is Mr. By the Book, but he's gone rogue not only with the immunity, but by not asking, so, who hired you? Instead, it's...
Did this man hire you to facilitate the murder attempt on the Dutton family?
After a long pause, we don't get an answer. No, they action cut to Beth, making good on her promise to turn the ranch into a wedding venue, and then we never really find out what Riggins had to say, or do we? Back at Jamie's new house, there's a confrontation between Jamie and Garrett. It all but seems imminent, and then who shows up? The redheaded girl from season 2, closing a loophole. Jamie's baby mama is back. The redhead girlfriend from season 1 and 2, Jamie's baby mama. Her name is Christina, and don't let her motherly pose fool you. This woman could take the Duttons down. If you recall, she was Jamie's campaign manager when he tried to run for attorney general, but they became romantic, started living together. She is the only other one who knows what Jamie told the newspaper reporter about John Dutton. The reporter was preparing a full profile that would have resulted in an FBI investigation. It was all so damning, Jamie was forced to kill the reporter during episode 6 of season 2. By that time, Jamie and Christina had broken up, but when Christina saw the news of the reporter's accident, she was shook. Girl knows. And now she has leverage on Jamie by way of that cute baby boy. There isn't a Dutton enemy on the show as capable of creating havoc for the ranch. But for now, she's proud of Jamie. Garrett's proud of Jamie. Honestly, I'm kind of proud of Jamie. The saving piece of evidence that Garrett didn't hire Riggins is that he's standing there at all. Because what would Jamie have done immediately if Riggins had named his dad as the hitman? He would have arrested him. Call the cops. Jamie's by the book guy, not the hero who's going to take care of things by himself. He's there, no arrest, which means no evidence yet. All of this has been a really slow rollout of Garrett's motives through this thing. It's too slow if you ask me. Not because I'm not enjoying it. I mean, we're going to get to episode 6 here, still not knowing who ordered the attacks, which tells me this is all a decoy for the truth about who actually planned the attacks, which is, of course, obviously, I don't really know. My theory that some family member of the Beck brothers did it still looks pretty good. I mean, it's as good as any theory, really. Overall, this episode felt like a little bit of a setup episode. Not a whole lot happened, no guns, no fights, a couple of pretty good Bethisms like...
If a meteor strikes Earth tonight, it is me and the cockroaches running this motherfucker tomorrow.
I liked it more and more as I got away from it, but remember, the tagline for season 4 was, everybody pays. So far, not a lot of receipts being issued. I'm not complaining, I kind of like the complexity, but I do see why some people say season 4 has been a little bit scattered. There's seemingly unnecessary commentary like this.
I hope the good Lord gave you a big dick, Jimmy, because he sure shorted your own brains.
That's Jimmy, who is now at the 4-6's ranch, slowly starting his journey after 2 old-timers woke him up.
There's 3 gods in Texas. The Almighty Himself, Buster Welch, and George Strait. You just met one of them.
Buster Welch is the key name there for non-Texans or non-rodeo people. He's a real Texas legend and a super interesting research project. And that really was Buster Welch in the shot.
That's not George Strait.
No, it wasn't George Strait. The funny part about this dialogue is we know the answer to that question about what the Lord gave Jimmy. And I suppose I should have just ignored this, but this is at least the 3rd time that Jimmy's manhood has been mentioned. Someone said that exact same thing once before, and then during episode 4 of season 3, this happened.
All right, getting the mystery out of the way right up front. Is it swollen from
I think it's the way God made that one.
This isn't happening.
So there you go. Jimmy doesn't need to be smart, apparently. Thumbs up this video if you've had just about enough talk about what's in Jimmy's trousers. But before I go, I need to mention the music, which has again been stellar. Colter Wall's Cowpoke was the song that played when the Wranglers were first breaking the Colts. He's been featured a lot this season. Zach Bryan, Flyin' and Cryin' was the closing song. Both great songs, as always. For more on Rip, Lloyd, and the bunkhouse drama, plus how and why Garrett might be a good guy, you can find the Dutton Rules podcasts at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Links are in the description section below. It's there where we also respond to your fan questions, comments, and theories. Coming up very soon, is the train station real? I'm Billy Dukes for Taste of Country. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for watching.